Hello there, my name's Scott McGowan. I'm wearing a hat for two reasons. Reason one is that my hat looks cool, and reason two is that my hair does not. But let's get serious here. I'm here to talk to you today about the censorship of art in North America and around the world. And I'm not talking about the boring kind of art that you pay like a museum fee for and then you stare at for 5 minutes trying to pretend to be cultured. I'm talking about the fun stuff: music, video games, film, and books. Especially books, because books are silly. So what do I mean by that is what you might be asking when I say that books are silly. Well, I'm just pulling up a list right over here, actually. We're taking a look at books that have been banned by governments. So this is a substantial list. It's even like categorized by letters. So let's actually select this. Let's take this. Not the American Library Association list, because those guys suck. I'm kidding. Anyway, so let's copy and paste that into this. Boom. We got 5 pages. Yeah, okay, 5 pages. Yeah, all right. So, you know, this is a 5-page list of things that have been banned. I guess this is all over the world. We're really only interested in North America, so let's see if we can Google that. This thing here, the American Library Association list, is actually probably a pretty good idea of the things that have been challenged in libraries in the United States. Not banned, challenged. But this is just the top 100 most challenged books, implying that there are many more. So let's actually do a quick Google search. List of books banned in Canada. Because Canada is the best country, obviously. Here is a short list of books once banned by various levels of government in Canada, and it's 7. It's 7 books. Okay, so we got Canada. Here's Canada. Fun stuff. Canada does not care, evidently, about whether or not books are being read, and these are books that have been once banned. I'm pretty sure I can get all of these. Let me actually just like go on Amazon really quick. So I found it pretty fast. I don't know what this is about. This is weird, but, you know, used from 342. It's not like it's hard to find at all. I could buy this for $1. I could find $1 by going outside and asking my neighbor, hey, can I have $1 to buy this book? And he would say no, but, you know, the point still stands. Anyway, so, you know, that's not hard to find. And that's like, out of all of these, this is probably the thing I would think the most to not be able to buy in Canada. So Canada doesn't have banned books. This is nice. This is good, because then we have lots of books. But I do just want to look at the things that have been challenged, because those are fun. It's pretty substantial, but, you know, it's books, right? Like, nobody reads books, let's be honest. So obviously other forms of media are going to be a little bit larger, right? Let's move on to a different art form for a second. Let's look at video games, because talk about video games. That's what everybody does, right? That's how I become amazing. List of banned video games. Uh-oh. There's no Canada here. But let's take a look at what the rest of the world says. Yeah, that makes sense. What do we got here? Cat in the Hat. The cat in the hat. Yeah, let's not go to Brazil. Let's look at Australia, because Australia has kind of made a name for itself as the place to ban video games. Currently banned and censored video games. Boom. We got that. So we got 26 games on this list, and one of these is not even out yet. This game is not out yet, and it's already been banned. They haven't even looked at it, and they banned it. Okay. So we know these guys are kind of crazy, but even then, that's only 26 titles. That's like, you know, blah. So this is like barely anything compared to books. And this is a country that hates video games, apparently. So let's actually look at like United States, because there must be something about the United States, and the United States are close to us, and there's no Canada here. So we'll make an exception. We can be the U.S. for a bit, right? Apparently, this is the only game that's actually been banned in the U.S. is this stupid-ass game. And just because it's got boobs in it. But video games, I guess, don't get banned that much. that doesn't mean that they don't get challenged. And for that, we look at this guy. We got Jack Thompson, known for his role as an anti-video game activist, particularly against violence and sex in video games. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I can challenge violence in books, but I'm not going to get anywhere with that. He seems to think that he will. You got to be specific. You can't just, like, say, I want to ban all sex in books forever, because, like, this probably has sex in it. I don't know. I haven't read it. Don't tell my philosophy prof that I haven't. But that's stupid. You got to have specific examples. And we have so many examples right here. So let's look at what we got. We got Grand Theft Auto, Bully, Manhunt, and Mortal Kombat. That's 4 games. That is his thing. It's 4 games. It's not 100 out of who knows God how many. So video games don't get a lot of stuff. Now, I find this really interesting for a number of reasons, because one, video games are a primarily visual art form. They're not even just visual, they're interactive. So, like, all the stuff that happens, all the violence, someone gets decapitated, it's right there. It's right in front of you. It's not like a book where you have to, like, picture it in your head. And the second thing that weirds me out about this is that video games are played by kids a lot. Like, more than books are read by kids. Let's face it, kids don't want to read. This doesn't have pictures in it. It has plenty of violence, but there's no pictures in it. Kids want to play Call of Duty. They don't want to read this. This is too difficult. They get bored. They don't know what this is. Kids have never seen books before, ever. They think this is candy. It's a brick to them. Let's face it, kids don't read books. Kids these days don't read books. So this weirds me out, because we have a whole lot more books that are being banned than video games, even though video games are more influential towards kids, I would assume. And this really weirds me out, because I thought the reason why we censored stuff was because of kids. Like, when I hear about people saying, we gotta ban this book, I'm imagining them continuing that sentence and saying, because we don't want our kids to read this book. It's never followed by, because we don't want grown people who can make their own decisions feel uncomfortable for a while. And yet, that seems to be the case here. Kids are a big thing for video games. I used to have kids come into the store, the video game store where I worked, and ask for Grand Theft Auto, and I'd have to be like, you're dumb. No. There are more kids playing video games than there are kids reading books, and most of them are playing Call of Duty. That's just a fact. So, why is this? Let's look at some other stuff. Now, music is fun. Everyone that is fun thinks that music is fun. This is an objective fact. And the great thing about music is that you can take really offensive stuff and either mask it in metaphors so that people think you're a genius, or make it incomprehensible and sell it as death metal. Either way, you sell records, so it's fine, right? But let's take a look at let's take a look at some music that's been banned. Now, the interesting thing about this article is that this is not about banned music. They didn't have one. This is about censorship of music. So censorship is a wider spanning thing than banning, because banning is like, no. Censorship is, well, no, unless you filter out the penis jokes. Or, no, unless you take out that word. So, it's different. But let's try and look for the word banned. Oh, 16 examples. Here's one banned from the BBC radio. BBC is weird. They're like a special exception to the whole banning music case. They seem to hate music more than Australia hates video games. Eminem, some songs have been banned. Madonna, several videos banned. Note that it's not the actual music, it's the videos that accompany said music. What kind of song do you have to write to be banned by the military? Yeah, the total censorship of a song is often... And the reason, apparently, for this is that the total censorship of a song is often reported in the mass media and often has the effect of drawing more attention to the song than would have received had it not been banned. That's the great thing about music, is that people get it on the internet all the time. So, if you ban a song, it doesn't matter. So maybe they just don't try. I mean, maybe there's more to it as well. Like maybe people think that music doesn't have as much of an effect as, I don't know, a book. But again, this is a direct form of communication between the artist and you. Like, it's very similar to books, except people are actually going to listen to this. Again, kids listen to more music than they read the books. So music is, you know, music doesn't get banned a lot. There's no list of music banned in Canada. So let's look at films, because films are another big one, another visual art form like video games, and movies as an art form are incredibly popular. I don't think I've met somebody who hasn't watched a movie ever, especially not in like this country, this region of the world. So let's look at some of the banned ones. So we'll actually start with Canada, because again, Canada's the best country. This is a list of films that have been or are banned in Canada. So this is not just currently banned. This is all over history. So, but what's interesting about this is that the 7 books that we saw that had been banned in Canada were like banned in Canada, like not just provinces. This is all sorted by provinces, and they don't agree on a lot of stuff, especially not BC. BC like doesn't care about like anything. They care about like two movies. The Wild One? I haven't even... What is this? Marlon Brando. We banned a Marlon Brando movie? No. Why would we do that? It looks big. It looks like a big list. But, again, these are all provincial rating things. This isn't like the entire country can't watch them. Now let's go to the United States, because the United States seems to care about these things a lot more. Films that have been one time or another banned in the United States... You know what? It's about the same, honestly. This one was banned because it had a buffalo giving birth. I just, you know, people don't like that. But, you know, like the list of banned movies and music and video games in the United States combined is not even close to the American Library Association list, which is 100 out of God knows who many titles have been challenged over time. And is nothing compared to the total of books that have been banned everywhere. And this really, really surprises me for reasons I've mentioned before. I'm going to say this one more time. Kids don't read books. Kids watch movies, they listen to music, and they play video games. And yet, books are censored more. This takes a bit of consideration. Like, is it just because books are the sacred cow, and since the art form has been around for the longest time, like it's subject to way more scrutiny than, you know, this little baby art form of video games or music or film? The written word has been around for over 2,000 years. Longer than that. I was just choosing a random data. I could choose like a number between 1 and like 6,000 and probably hit a number where we've had books or writing of some kind. Is that what this is all about? Is it because, like, books are this thing? You can't write a book about sex with really sexy bits in it because that's gross. I honestly don't get it. I said this before. In my view, censorship is for younger people, people who can't think for themselves. If someone were to come up to me and say, you know what, I didn't like this movie, I found it offensive, then I would, you know, kind of like, you know, okay, so why did you find it offensive? Like, talk to them about it. But if someone were to come up to me and say, nobody should watch this movie because I didn't like it, that crosses a line a little bit. We're thinking adults. Can you not read this book without, I don't know, I'm trying really hard to get into the mind of a person who would want to ban a book because I can't get into that mindset. I'm going to be honest. I was really challenged by this novel. I was disturbed. There was disturbing content in this. But I'm not going to tell people that no one should read this because that's a lie. A lot of people should read this. It's good. It's a really good book, even though it freaked me out. You know, am I just more open-minded than other people? Maybe. But we're looking at society as a whole and why certain things are banned and others aren't. And I'm going to take a random stab at this, and I'm going to guess it's because of this. That rating down in the corner there. This thing, this one letter. E for everyone. I feel like this changes everything. All the other stuff we've looked at. Video games. You can't sell a video game in this country without getting it rated. And they actually have a rating that's like adults only for video games that are like pornographic or super violent. Manhunt 2 is a good example of this. I think it got an adults only rating once. Or that one Grand Theft Auto game that came out got adults only. But the thing about adults only is that it's not that people won't sell it. We actually, at my old store, we had certain SKUs. SKU is like a number to find a thing. We had SKUs for adults only games. We had them in stock, we just couldn't display them because, you know, they're porn or stuff. And I believe it's the same way in the United States. I don't think you can outright ban a video game because of it. I don't think people outright ban video games because of content in them, except for the Guy game, but that game's crap anyway. And I think the rating system has something to do with that. Because that is present both in movies and music and not in books. There's nothing on here that says, you know, contains crazy psychotic murders. There's nothing in here. You would not actually be able to tell that this was about a psychopath except for the word psycho. And this one sentence, his nights he spends in ways we cannot begin to fathom. That's all the warning you get. This, on the other hand, this is an M-rated game, mature 17 and up. And why? Because of blood, language, partial, you can't really see that, but blood, language, partial nudity, sexual themes, and violence. It tells you what's in it, like right off the bat. And you get the same thing with movies. I don't have any movies with me because I don't have DVDs. Because I watch things on my computer legally. But DVDs have the same thing. They have like the 18A, they have the 14A, they have the 1814 stuff. They have rating systems on them, and they have things underneath that ratings explaining why they were rated that way. They have ratings boards for music. And you can go to a store, and if a CD has obscene lyrics, it says, warning, this CD has obscene lyrics. But you can still buy the CD. You can still buy the movie. You can still buy the game. Books don't have that, and we have books that you can't buy. I mean, not here, not in Canada. I already talked about that, but like US. There are books in the United States that you cannot buy. And, you know, I think that's what it boils down to. I think that maybe the reason why people get so mad about books is that they feel like they've been tricked. Maybe people pick up this book and they think this is going to be a nice little pleasant romp through Wall Street. And then they get to the part where he starts cutting people's heads off and shoving rats inside them and cutting them in half with a chainsaw. And they go, this is not what I, you know, this is not what I wanted to buy. Like maybe it's not something about books being this sacred art form. Maybe it's literally that regular people who are extremely fragile picked something up and they had no idea what was in it, and then there was stuff in it that they didn't agree with, and because they're fragile and loud, they decide to try and get it banned. And because we live in a society where everyone's a special little snowflake, they get listened to. I'm not going to show you like forums of video games because that's boring, but if you were to go on a video game forum and say, I think this game should be banned, you'd be laughed at. You'd be said to go back to Australia, where they hate video games. I'm going to be completely honest. The whole banning thing, it doesn't make sense to me. Art is art. I don't really like to look at paintings that much, but if I were to go into a museum and see a giant painting of a dong cutting somebody in half with a lawnmower, I just turn around and walk away. Even if I thought it was like a show about pictures of sharks and then suddenly there's a giant phallus exploding into crunchy pieces, I still wouldn't really care. I'd be like, wow, okay, why was that there? I wasn't expecting that. And then I'd leave. I wouldn't go, this exhibit is Satan's spawn and must be taken. Oh, I really don't understand it. So books seem to matter more. Or maybe they don't actually matter more, and maybe it's just because they're not rated. Maybe if we had a rating system for books that, you know, you could walk into a store and would have like AO or M or something like warning, decapitations and gross stuff, then the whole thing with like the challenged books would like disappear. I mean, you know, would Perks of Being a Wallflower have been such a big deal if it said on the back, warning, there's homosexuals in this? I don't think it would, because then people who are offended by homosexuals and know that they are offended by homosexuals would not buy the book. They would not read the book. You know, problem solved. I mean, you would still have people that would go like, yeah, we need to get rid of homosexuals in books. But like I said before, you can't just do that because then you're banning this book again because there's a homosexual philosopher in it. And you know, you can't do the blanket banning thing. You have to have specific examples, and you can't get specific examples if you don't read the book. And then here's the thing that I think it is. I'm really sticking on to this now because I'm just picturing, you know, somebody going in, knowing they hate something, then picking up something with something in it. Then picking up a book that contains that something, reading it, and going, man, I really hate that something that was in that book. This book should be banned. I picture everyone looking at them and laughing and going, then why did you read the book? You know, maybe that really would just solve all of our problems. We just put a little sticker on the back of a book. Contains boobs. But again, this is all from my perspective. This is from the perspective of a guy who can't figure out the other perspective. I don't get why people get so worked up over words on a page or lyrics of a song or boobs in a video game. I don't get why. You know, maybe you do, or maybe someone you know does, and I would like you to tell me about them because I am open-minded to this. I want to know legitimately why you would ever think that a book or a movie or any form of art should never be viewed by anyone. Because that I don't understand. So thanks for watching. If you got this far in the video, please leave a comment because I want to know what you think about this. Because this is a pretty big deal. I mean, you know, this is all about whether or not we should give people the power to decide what we can or cannot do. And that's a big issue, especially in today's society where people are ever more aware of their rights as human beings to do stuff. So, yeah, leave a comment, leave a like if you thought my hat was cool. I think it's cool. My mom says it's cool. And, yeah, I'd like to know what you think about this. So, let's talk. Have a good one, everybody. I actually want to, like, look at some of these. Because this is just, like... Really? I read this in, like, grade 2. These are children... This is the #1 most... This is the most challenged book in the United States is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. But I guess it makes sense, because this is supposed to be for kids, and then the illustrations are like... These are actually still pretty scary, honestly. Like, what the hell is that? I don't like it. No, go home, giant floating baby. Stop following me. I don't like dinosaurs either. This is giving me nightmares. Just look. This is like a donkey wearing high heels. I think I dated this girl in high school. This guy doesn't even look scary. It's just like, eh.